Good. All right. Hello, everybody. I am so happy to be with you tonight and see you. And I want to welcome everybody. It was an important night for us to get together. And even if you're catching this on a replay, it's the perfect time to get together. I'm very excited to be with all of you. We have a lot of new folks coming into the community at State. So I want to welcome you as well. We're so happy that you're here. And I'm going to introduce myself to folks that are new. I'm Lisa. And I'm here to remind you of something that you forgot, which is your source energy. So the reason why we're being with this and we're getting together today is because the pervasive question that I get with everybody that I'm working with is, what in the hell is going on? Now the fascinating part is because a lot of people that I work with are enjoying the fact that they're not so frightened. And I have to remind you that that's because the state of your consciousness, the state of your being, is in a higher frequency. That doesn't mean, because the entire globe is being impacted. There isn't one person that isn't being impacted by what is going on right now. And people are questioning, should I be more frightened? And the answer is no. I mean, I really want you to enjoy and relish the fact that because of the work that you've been participating in, your consciousness has expanded. So there's that human part to all of us that is trying to figure out what has gone wrong. Now the personality part of you is more than welcome to stay in for this conversation. We're never going to reject it, but now tonight's conversation is going to be speaking directly to your higher self. The higher self knows, differently from the personality, that nothing has gone wrong. This is the great expansion of consciousness. Remember what we've talked about. Consciousness is really what we're talking about. Consciousness and expansion is really, if I had to put it into a phrase, is your new currency. And we've always known this entire time that the reality that we participate in is a vibrational one, and you're becoming much more conscious of that. And the entire globe, the entire human species is being given the opportunity to go inside. I mean, it's been orchestrated on our behalf. And again, I'm talking to your higher selves. This entire globe has been given the opportunity to go inside. And one of the things that we keep talking about is this concept of going inside and being with it. As human beings, we've been trained to do and figure out things. And what we're remembering is that it isn't about doing, it's about being. And I love to give you examples of how you've been doing this all along. So we go back to the example of, you used to be a baby and now you're an adult. And the process of growing into this magnificent person you are was not a strategic endeavor. It was your consciousness. There was no interruption of that consciousness. And you've done this the entire time you've been here. All of the things that you have mastered from an aligned perspective have been through your expanding consciousness. So you've already done this. You've already moved from a baby to an adult. And now what we're talking about is the entire globe is being given the opportunity to go inside. Now I want to talk about this concept of going inside, because as you go inside, the darkness and the light both come up simultaneously. There's something I'm always trying to figure out, because people, even though I'm saying we're not going to think our way through this, there's something comforting to the human being to give examples. And I'm going to remind you of something that you've been doing this entire time too without knowing it, or maybe some of you know it. But let's talk about the process of proteins in your body. There's something fascinating that happens. So there's a protein, amino acid, and what it does is, in order to create new proteins and new structures and new functions, it doesn't go out, it goes in, and it folds. And this is what I want to focus on with you guys tonight, which is when it folds in, the inside, the center, that center point is where all the infinite power is. All of the infinite power is in its center. So what I'm saying to you is, if it goes to its center and it's misaligned, what happens is it unfolds and it mutates, and that's where disease and mutations come from. But the proteins that fold in to its own alignment and its own infinite power open up and create magnificence, and they allow, if they're functioning for an organ that functions magnificently from an aligned perspective. So the reason why I'm sharing this with you is because you've been doing this the entire time you've been in the physical body. So this process of going inside is already something that you participate in on a moment-to-moment basis. So I really want you to kind of be with that. Kind of sciencey, but that's okay too. So this idea of where the globe is, now let's pull it into you, to you individually. The idea is that you are hitting a point called 0 point. It's the 0 point where there's stillness, there's neutrality. And in that stillness, in that folding in, is where all of your power is. When I did the video about quantum superpositioning, plenty of questions coming in about that. So we're going to go over it again, because this is what I'm asking you to consider focusing on for now, because there's going to be a ton of distractions. The reality is, you're aware of the distractions. It's not about ignoring anything. There's a wisdom in not ignoring anything. But for now, what I'm inviting you to really be with is the 0 point, the stillness, the neutrality that is inside of you. And as you focus on the light, let there be light, let there be light, that photonic information, the light comes in, and it makes a direct contact with that part of you, that aligned part of you. And this is the physics, this is the quantum conversation that we're getting into. Light organizes energy into new matter. So what is going on here is we're moving from the paradigm, and the human being has mastered the capacity to be in fear, lack, and scarcity. It isn't wrong, but you know that your energy, and it's time to expand. The fascinating paradox is we don't expand out, we expand in. And as we expand in, we give ourselves the opportunity, from an aligned perspective, to access infinite quantum energy and power that then goes into your field, into your toric field, and radiates out. This has always been a vibrational reality. You're becoming more aware of it. And in order to become more aware of it, nothing can be ignored. Simultaneously, now this is a quantum conversation, because human beings think we can only do one thing at a time. You're going to be doing simultaneous things all together. And the idea is that the distractions aren't being ignored, but the focus is the light that creates and orchestrates energy into new matter. So we're going to be with that. Now I get it, you understand it, you're all very, very smart people, but we're trying to make sense of it, because we think if we make sense of it, then we can make it happen. I'm going to remind you, the higher self knows there's nothing to figure out. It is being still, it is going inside, it is folding in. That's where all of your power, every time we think about expansion, just the image of it is that it's going out. I want you to start to imagine it going in. One of the things, and especially this weekend for friends who are celebrating either Passover or Easter or spring, we're all celebrating something. The idea is that this is a new beginning. And it's not a new beginning of recreating yourself. It's a new beginning of really remembering what you are. You are source energy. Now, as you remember that, you're going to get distracted. There's a lot of information out there, and it is quite, again, when you're in observation and you're not ignoring things, you have to remember when you're really in observation, the greatest gift observation offers you and your energy is you don't entangle with it. So, each moment of now is a new birth, is a new beginning. So in each moment, if you can fold in and focus on the light, being the frequency receiver of the light, you're not going to lug in the old stories. You're not going to worry about the future. You're going to be in the present moment, and the present moment is where all of your power is. That's where all of your power is. And as you continue to focus on the light, and it's a repetitious thing because, of course, there's more to the conversation. But for now, the greatest gift you give to yourself is to fold in. That's where your power is. And what's going to happen when you fold in, don't get ticked off at yourself when you get distracted. The great thing is that you're catching it faster. And as you catch it faster, you're going to be able to practice not judging yourself. Not judging yourself. You have to see what we're becoming much more conscious of is that we don't rely on the outside to look a certain way, to be a certain way in order for us to be okay. We're practicing being with all of the energy that's inside of us, and we're allowing it to come up, and we're observing it. So one of the things that I'm recognizing with all of the people that I'm working with is, although they may not be totally yanked by everything that's going on globally, like so many are, and I'm not happy to say that, but I am grateful that you've had the opportunity to do your own work. And the idea is that as you be with this, you're going to start to recognize that the unconscious parts of you are going to present. And it is going to feel a little uncomfortable. But when you feel the discomfort, this is me talking to your higher self, I'm asking you to get excited about it because it means that you're accessing energy that has been deep-seated and in the dark part of your energy, and it's coming to light. And you have to remember, as we move into the mastery of source energy through consciousness, you don't exclude anything. You be with all of it. So as those parts of you that are going to surprise you, because it's like, I thought this was all done. It's never done. And I'm going to keep reminding you, you can't get this wrong. You just can't get it wrong, but you are not going to get it done. And that phrase is very soon going to be very exciting to you because you don't want it to end. You didn't come here to not participate in everything. You came here to expand consciousness, and that is, to date, this is the biggest phase. This is the most prominent phase. This is the most important phase that the entire human species has been offered to go inside, fold in to the power of now, to fold in to where all of the infinite energy is. And you're going to start to feel some of those parts that aren't yours, that have been circulating in your energy and that have been on some level unconsciously running the show. You have to remember, part of when you created this body temple, and you did, when you created the body temple, you created the brain, and the brain is magnificent, but the brain has taken control of orchestrating life and being logical and being rational and figuring everything out. And I'm reminding you, as you move into the higher consciousness, the brain is a great ally for you, because there is something magnificent about logic and rationale, but it's not going to be the prominent energy that's going to expand your consciousness. It's going to be, the brain is going to be of service to you. It's no longer going to be in control. So one of the trickiest parts of, or interesting parts of what we talk about is, when I talk, see how it feels. Some of it's going to make sense, some of it isn't going to make sense, but you're always going to have a feeling about it. That feeling is the energy that I'm asking you to be with. If it feels resonant, you may say to me, I can't repeat anything that you said, but it feels good. It feels aligned. That's all I'm asking you to be with. So for now, what I'm asking you to do is think about the quantum superpositioning, which is to receive the light. Be the light. Let the light in. And when you get distracted, be grateful. Be grateful that you are able to catch it, because there have been decades where those sensations have come up and you didn't even recognize them. But now you can recognize them, and it's time to be with that. That's a very magnificent part of what you're doing. So as you be with all of it, you're going to start to realize something really magnificent, and it is lovely, is that heaven on earth is already here. It's already here. And as you raise your consciousness, as you expand your consciousness, you will be the receiver of it. It has never been not here. I know it's not great English, but it never hasn't been here. It's been here the entire time. And now the collective is being given the opportunity to receive it. These next couple of weeks and couple of months, you're being given an extraordinary opportunity, which is, like I said before, the universe is orchestrated and on your behalf, which is, there aren't many distractions. You're not taking kiddos to places, and you're not going into the office much. Yes, there are actions that we take. There's still laundry, there's still e-learning and excuse me, all of these other things that we're doing. But a lot of the day is for you to sit and be. And when you find that you're getting nervous, when you find that you're in fear, be grateful that you're catching it. And what are we going to do? We're going to call it in. There's going to be a lot of calling in. You're going to call it in. You're going to see where it lands in the body. And you're going to move from the story to be with the sensation. This is the illogical, irrational part that I've been sharing with you, which is that when you be with the sensation, is it tight? Is it palpating? Is it cold? Is it spiky? And when you feel that sensation, all you do is you say, I recognize you. And we're going to repeat this, because the recognition is the frequency of love. You are moving from a paradigm of the frequency of fear to the frequency of love. We've talked about it. The systems outside have never been the resource for your well-being. It's inside. It's in the center of you. And the systems are now, because your consciousness is expanding, look like they're falling apart. They did a long time ago. They weren't wrong, and they're not bad. They got us where we're at now, and that's to be appreciated. But what we're doing is we're moving in from the frequency of fear to the frequency of love. So all of the systems are going to go through this transition into love. And there's nothing for you to figure out. The greatest contribution you make to the collective is you do the internal still point work. Again, we're having a quantum conversation. Let's not worry about if the entire collective is doing this. Everybody's being given the opportunity to do it. Some will and some won't. The knowing is that it doesn't take a majority to shift into the new paradigm. It takes a minority. And the sentence that I say all the time is, one person in alignment is more powerful than a million out of alignment. You don't get what you want. You don't manifest what you want. You manifest what you are. So, what does that mean? It means that the frequency that you are, when it starts to move into alignment, because you're attending to everything, you're ignoring nothing, and you're simultaneously focused on one thing, receiving the light, being the frequency receiver. When you catch the fear, when you catch the doubt, when you catch the scarcity and the lack, you now know that that is your personality trying to keep you safe. And the safety is an illusion. You are moving into wider, grander consciousness, which is, there's never been anything to fear. The systems that were designed were predicated on the frequency of fear. That's why this is happening. They've turned into fumes. So as we move in to the frequency of love, new systems, those systems are going to be created. This is a great time of innovation. I mean, we're witnessing it already. So many individuals and families and communities have done extraordinary things in short amounts of time. And they're having fun doing it. They're having fun creating. And when they are provoked, I get it. But be grateful that you're catching it. And then come back into the knowing that your source energy. Come back into the knowing that you are going to be the frequency receiver of the light. What is the light? The light is what orchestrates and moves energy into matter. Meaning the new energy, the new light, is creating the new matter. Nothing for you to figure out. You already know this. You already know this. So what we are going to do as a collective is we're going to create the next systems on the frequency, off of the frequency of love, which is meaning that they will be of service to us, but they're still not going to be the resource. The resource has always been inside of you. And this is, I think, the loveliest information that you can remember. So you are source energy. As source energy, you're going to be with all of it, which means that in order to move into your alignment, you have to be with the energies that aren't yours, that have been circulating in your field. They will come up, and they're going to, like I said before, they're going to surprise you, because you're going to be like, I didn't even know. Be grateful that you're doing this, and we're going to continue to move, because one of the other things, and a lot of questions have been coming in again about the distractions. Distractions interrupt your what? Imagination. Your imagination is something you've been trained out of. So when I say things to you that you understand but you don't really get, pretend you get it. Imagine that you get it, because you do get it. But you have to understand, expanding consciousness is not a strategic endeavor. It's ineffable. It's just what you did when you grew your body. No strategic anything. You just allowed consciousness to expand and grow into this magnificent adult that you are. So with that, I'm going to remind you again, heaven on earth, or utopia, however you want to consider it, is already here. And you don't see it with your eyes. You feel it. You are the frequency receiver of the still point inside of you that is in the center of you, that holds infinite energy and power, and you stay there for now. Is there more? Yes, there's going to be more conversation. But what you're actually doing now, as you expand your consciousness, is not only moving from a frequency of fear to a frequency of love. And when we do that, the first element that will receive your love is your own body temple, your own frequency. Which means that when parts pop up that you don't care for, it's not about separating and managing them. It sure as hell isn't about making things outside right. I'm going to remind everybody, and you're going to have to see how this feels. There's no going back. What was is done. And I get that that's a very profound statement to make. And for some of you, it might cause a little bit of fear. I get it. Call it in, be with it, see where it lands in your body. But really, the exciting part of our conversation is that we're moving. This is, like I said before, a great time of innovation. There are so many things that are going to be created. And like I say, what it requires from you now is that childlike innocence. Animals do this, nature does this, and we've witnessed it. I mean, if you're looking around, even in your own communities, things look different. The colors are more vibrant. Because everybody is going inside, nature and animals are moving back consciously into their own alignment. And with hours, linear hours, they're changing. I mean, we've seen it. We saw it in Venice. We see it in the pictures of China. There's many people who live across the globe who are sending me pictures that in their communities there was a ton of smog, and now it's blue skies and sunshine. And as you move from the 0.1%, which is the way that the human being has been trained to manage that and make it look a certain way, now as we get into quantum conversations, we're going to the 99.9% of what the inside, that folding of inside of yourself, holds for you. Because you're going to be moving into your infinite power. And then you will see it. But for now, it's not about, heaven on earth is here. And you don't see it with your eyes. You feel it. It's the alignment inside of you. So with that, I just wanted to get together today. It's not a super long conversation, but I absolutely wanted to tell you for now, because this, honestly, what's going on now with the sequester isn't going anywhere anytime soon. We're going to be in this situation for a bit of time. It too will transition. It too will transition. The idea is that you're being given the opportunity to go to the 0 point, go to the still point, neutrality. I gotta use English words, it's not really what I mean, but it's the reboot. It's the reboot that everything comes to a still point. And that's where all of your power is. We have had extraordinary conversations, and they're going to get even more extraordinary, because now we're getting into conversations about, really, when you get into the still point, you're going to start to access what people call superhuman powers. And it's not about power over anything. That's not what we're talking about. Which is, it's the power of you. And we talk about, you know, it's going to sound funny because it's not the way the human brain would consider things, but we're moving into a place where we've talked a bit about it in the groups, which is you have more energy in your pinky, and there's so much energy just in your pinky that you could light up communities through that energy. So you want a little fun factoid for what's coming in is that you will be able to walk into a room and through your own energy turn on all the lights. You know, you will break your arm and you will simply place your hand on it and it will be healed. Those are the extraordinary conversations that we're going to start to get into. Now is a time to practice, because what we're doing is we're giving the personality it's the attention that it has always kind of desired. It never wanted to be in control, but it was in training to do so. And its job was to keep you safe. And what you're realizing as source energy is there's nothing to be safe from. You are the creator. So as we take care of that magnificent personality of yours, she and he get to come along for the rest of the ride. But now is the time for you to expand into who you are and what you really are. Everything that you desire is already here. The interesting thing is the personality is still tethered to this idea that once I get the guy, the girl, the money, the job, the location, the house, the whatever, then I'll be okay. As we move into a different state of consciousness, a different state of being, you recognize it's never been about that. It's always been about remembering who you are and what you are so that you can expand into being the frequency receiver of all that you desire. I'm telling you, friends, all of it is already here. And it's through the sensations that you feel. You want security? Then we feel it. And imagine you know what I'm talking about. You want love? Time to love every part of yourself. You want abundance? It's in the still point, the center of you. Everything that you desire is already here in the vibrational reality. And because it's a vibrational reality, the only way we access it is we have to be the frequency receiver. And the frequency receiver is not in doubt, is not in shame, is not in fear, is not in guilt, because it knows that any of the things that have happened in the past were because that was that then state of consciousness. You are expanding your consciousness. Be the frequency receiver. Observe all of it and simultaneously stay focused on your light. Let there be light. I'm going to keep repeating it. Let there be light. And when you feel the anxiety, when you feel the fear, when you feel the shame, when you feel the nervousness, attend to it and let in the light. So that's where we're at. I just wanted to give you this information because this is a pretty profound weekend for many people. And what I'm recognizing is be easy on yourselves, because at this time there is going to be, I think the past couple of weeks people have kind of up to and kind of gotten adjusted to doing everything online and mostly being at home. Now you're going to start to have some, perhaps not, some wobble with that. You're going to kind of long for things to change. And I understand that, and I want you to be with it. But I'm telling you, this is an extraordinary gift that we are being given, which is to, without much distraction in our daily lives, go into the still point. And when you do get distracted, because like I said, a lot of people are thinking about and researching information about what this could potentially come from. How did this start? What does this mean? Who did it? What did it? And I get the questions. And I'm not asking you to be ignorant to that. What I'm saying is if you're having if you're doing that research and it's bringing you a sense of peace, by all means continue it. If you're doing that kind of research and it's bringing you contrast and dis-ease, let there be light. That is going to be your focus right now. So with that, I just wanted to share this bit of information because you're going to have a fascinating weekend. And I think that at this juncture, it's important for us to connect in a more consistent way, because as you fold in to the still point, something that you're already masterful at, as you fold into the still point, you're going to start to access some of those parts of you that are truly miraculous. All of it is miraculous. And there are many, many resources and energies that are completely with you, and they can't meet you when you're in resistance. They can't meet you when you're in resistance. And resistance is that part of the personality that tries to figure things out, has to think logically about this, is taking in the information and becoming frightened by it. The masterful you knows there's nothing to be frightened of. So we're just going to continue to be with this information. For now, I think I want you to have a very restful evening. I want you to know that this is a time of great innovation. This is a quantum conversation, so when I say that, I'm not implying that there's a lot of things for you to do and do and do. What I'm saying is you are going to be being with whatever presents. You're bringing coherence. You're bringing in light. And it makes sense and it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense that validating a sense of dis-ease, validating the fear that you have, is going to change anything. It's going to move you into the next paradigm. So it's imperative that we just stay focused. Let there be light. Let there be light. And the fascinating thing is the light isn't out there. It's in the still point of you, and you're being given the opportunity to access it now. So take these words, listen to this conversation again. For those of you who have joined me live, I'm very grateful. I think it's important for the community to come together and be energetically together. But the replay will come out, and do feel free, if you have friends or family that are kind of on the same curious track that you are, feel free to share it with them. And for those of you who are new, you can subscribe to mystateofbeing.org, and there's a ton of free resources about all of these conversations. There's plenty of videos that you can participate in. So feel free to access that. For now, let there be light. Let there be light. Everything that you desire is already here. You will now focus on the light so that you can move into your own alignment and be the frequency receiver. Let there be light. So for now, I say good night, and I want you to go have fun creating with the light. All right, guys. Peace. Take care.
The lid is off. You know there's more, so go explore.